A New Light video magazine. Seeing in a new perspective. January issue, Volume 22. This month's feature story, Max, the Crystal Skull, and other great stories as well. Catch the monthly trivia and the ANA celestial calendar and forecast inside. To find out more, go to www.innewlightvideomagazine.com or follow us in HD for the best experience on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you there. The table of contents is designed for you to get the best enjoyment from INLVM. Simply find the story you want to experience from the contents and go to that time code, or let it play for the full issue. Table of contents. Otherworld news. Caves of Crystal. Time code 254. Rolling Green Project. Snow Survival. Time code 715. History of New Year's Eve. Time code 1141. Feature story. Max, the Crystal Skull. Mysterious Ancient Crystal Skulls. Time code 1535. What's Up? Energy Building. Uncovering Unexplained Phenomena. Energy, Frequency, and Vibration Resources. Time code 2023. Entertainment Central. Trivia Time. Time code 2455. Super Crystal. Time code 2621. Diamonds Are Forever. Time code 3010. Holistic Health. Are you tired after eating? Time code 3357. Elderberry Tonic. Time code 3702. Astronomy and Astrology. Astronomy Photo of the Month, Horsehead Nebula. Time code 4027. The Moon Mine. Time code 4235. ANA Celestial Calendar and Forecast. Time code 4538. About a New Light video magazine. Time code 5127. Contributors and credits. Time code 5230. Happy New Year 2015!
Caves of Crystal. Mother Earth never ceases to amaze me. True, man has worked with her in order to construct some beautiful creations, but the natural things that the Earth just does are completely breathtaking. One of these natural creations is the Caves of Crystal. Located in Naka, Chihuahua, Mexico, it is part of the Naka mines that are 980 feet below the surface. Its main chamber contains giant selenite crystals, which is understandable that it is home to the biggest crystals known to date. This magnificent crystal is 39 feet long, 13 feet around, and a whopping 55 tons in weight. This cave is one that many want to explore, but due to the conditions inside the cave, it is basically impossible. With a sultry 90 to 99% humidity, the temperature can reach upwards to 136 degrees Fahrenheit. To enter this cave, one has to wear protective gear. Without it, you would only be able to stay in for about 10 minutes at a time. This place has truly fascinated me, as it does for crystal lovers or just interested people. Lying on an ancient fault above the underground magma chamber below the crystal cave, Naka is an excellent place for this wonder to be birthed. The magma chamber below the cave heats the groundwater, which is saturated with sulfide ions. The hydrated sulfite gypsum crystallized at an extremely slow rate of over the course of at least 500,000 years, forming this enormous crystals found today. The Cave of Swords, located above the Cave of Crystals, was discovered in 1910 by miners working at the Naka mine. But it wasn't until 2000, while miners were excavating a new tunnel for the mines, that the Caves of Crystals were discovered. Interesting note here, this mine has substantial amounts of silver, zinc, and lead. Further exploration unearthed two more smaller caverns, Queen's Eye Cave and Candle's Cave. In 2009, during a drilling project, a new cave named Ice Palace was discovered. This cave, being only 492 feet deep, isn't flooded with crystal formations that are smaller, and it has small cauliflower formations and fine thread-like crystals. In 2006, a specialist of cave minerals and crystallographer, Paolo Forti, from the University of Bologna, Italy, explored the cave in detail. He and his team had to develop refrigerated suits and cold-breathing systems that they could wear in the cave to allow them to stay longer in extreme heat. They were dubbed the Tolomeo suit and the Sinusite respirator. Later, Stein Erik Lauritzen from the University of Bergen, Norway, performed uranium and thorium dating to determine the maximum age of the giant crystals, about 500,000 years. About this time, Penelope Boston from New Mexico Institute of Mining and Technology began to take sterile samplings of gypsum, trying to detect the possible presence of ancient bacteria that could be encapsulated inside fluid and solid inclusions present in the calcium sulfate. She took samples by drill cores. She took these samples by making small boreholes inside large crystals under antiseptic conditions. No DNA from ancient bacteria could be extracted from the studies, but the solid inclusions mainly consisted of magnesium and iron oxyhydroxide. Through my research through the internet about this remarkable place, I have yet to find energy readings of these crystal caves. I have to say I am very interested in feeling this place and finding out what others that have been there felt. We know that crystals carry energy, and ones this big, wow. Mother Earth still has many secrets to unearth. Let us keep on discovering her brilliance. So if you have been there, have done any kind of research, would you please share it with us? We would be happy to share your work with the world. Thank you for watching and listening. This is Stacy Hill with the New Light Video Magazine.
Snow survival. While some of our projects have slowed to a near halt due to Arctic blast and below freezing temperatures, we still had a chance to do some interesting survival projects. I personally have never lived anywhere as cold as Colorado during an Arctic blast, so it was quite the experience. The number one resource for surviving that kind of cold is, of course, some type of heating and good insulation. Because we can't just start a fire in the trailer, we're using propane, which works excellent unless you run out of fuel. So to survive a night at -11 degrees, we put blankets over the door and windows, piled 5 blankets on the bed, and snuggled in together with the 4 cats to await daylight. So lesson number 1 for heating is to make sure you have enough of whatever fuel you are using to not run out later in the day than it can be replaced. Going outside at all is a challenge, and protecting tender flesh areas is the greatest concern. Wearing several pairs of socks, several upper and lower layers, and protective eyewear is the only way to step outside, preferably with covering over your face and ears as well, as the moisture in your eyes can become frozen, causing permanent damage to the eye. Keeping your feet warm and dry is the only way to stay outside more than a few short minutes as well. We have actually had some issues with our toes due to the cold floor inside, even with several pairs of socks and fuzzy slippers on, so wearing insulating socks indoors is just as important. Then there was the issue of getting out of our driveway. A set of all-terrain tires with excellent tread is the best route to take, but even then you may need some extra traction. Snow chains for the drive tires have saved us a few times from being completely stranded. However, before we got the chains, we had to wait at least 2 days without any snow before we could even attempt to leave the ridge we live on. Because we towed in our water, this also became an issue. We were sitting here with no water for coffee, the cats, or ourselves. So as I sat looking at the blanket of white out my window, I decided that being without water in a field full of snow was just ridiculous. So our plan was to recycle the snow into water. Now, trying to eat snow for hydration will actually cause the opposite effect, and after our experiment, I think it's quite possibly because you cannot eat enough snow to equal the amount of water needed. I learned that quickly with some delicious snow cream that had my lips completely numb by the time it was finished off. Much like making ice in your freezer, the raindrops expand into crystals that spread the water out and add density to it. With the snow, Rick gathered a tightly packed 5-gallon bucket and brought it into the house. Because the ambient temperature in the house was barely 40 degrees, it was taking a bit longer to melt than we expected. So the second day, we moved the container closer to our heater and had a little over a gallon, almost a gallon and a half, from the 5 gallons of snow he collected. From a large cooking pot, you would likely get about a quart of water after heating it over a stove. The tighter you can pack the snow into your container, the more liquid volume you can produce in the melting. So while it may not be the most efficient way to retain water, it will definitely make a difference if your water supply is cut off for any reason. Boiling the water before consumption is definitely recommended, but that won't work if you're making snow cream. If you find yourself stuck in some frigid weather this winter, layers are the key. So bundle up those feet, pull on those layers, cover up all exposed skin, including your eyes, and get out there and build an igloo. Snow huts can actually be very insulating from the cold if you are stuck outside without shelter. Unfortunately, a dry powdery snow will not be helpful with building a structure, and you will need to seek some other shelter. Do you live in a frigidly cold area and have some survival tips for not freezing in the harshness of the climate? Please share them with us at newlightvideomagazine.com and keep up to date with the happenings at the Rollin Green Eco Station by checking out rollinggreenproject.org. This is Samantha Phoenix with the Rollin Green Project for a New Light Video Magazine.
Because a first impression is a lasting impression. Visit Freedom Phoenix Web Solutions to create your best web presence.
New Year's Eve. It's beginning. It's December 31st, and everyone gathers together to bring in a new year. Hopefully one better than last year. The great surge of hope sweeps us all. But have you ever thought about where and when this celebration got started? I mean, different cultures celebrate the new year at different times. The only reason we celebrate this date is simply because of us adhering to the Gregorian calendar. So how long has this been celebrated? New Year's Eve celebration can go all the way back 4,000 years ago with the Babylonians. Only they didn't celebrate January 1st as the beginning of the year, but it was one of feast and gatherings. The Babylonians would celebrate the first full moon after the vernal spring equinox as the beginning of a new year. They would have massive celebration called Adaku, which is a Sumerian word for barley, which was harvested in the spring. Adaku was a celebration that honored the mythical victory of the Babylonian sky god Marduk over the evil sea goddess Tiamat. It was also at this time a new king was crowned or a king's renewal ceremony was held. The early Roman calendar consisted of 10 months. Later, Numa Pompilius added Januarius and Februarius, which put things out of sync. By 46 BC, the calendar fell out of sync with the sun. Julius Caesar decided to solve the problem by consulting with the most prominent astronomers and mathematicians of his time, thus developing the Julian calendar, which closely resembles the more modern Gregorian calendar. So January 1st became the first day of the new year, named from Janus, the Roman god of beginnings. This was a huge celebration with sacrifices being made to Janus, exchanging gifts, and big parties. Nowadays, it is celebrated in many ways. Here in the U.S., many gather in New York City to watch the ball drop. In Vienna, on New Year's Day, it is a concert with a philharmonic. This is the annual performance of waltzes, polkas, and marches by Johann Strauss, his 3 sons, and their contemporaries. As timeless as a tradition this may sound, this celebration isn't really that old. The celebration with the Philharmonics was started by the Nazis, with the first performances being New Year's Eve, 1939. This was actually an annual fundraising drive masterminded by the National Socialist Party to buy fuel for the needy in the coldest months of the year. As the Strausses already had a type of gala, the Nazis took upon the idea of unifying the event that could be broadcasted live across the Third Reich. The concert moved to New Year's Day in 1941. Luckily for us, this tradition continued after the war with its Nazi history hushed up. Ironically, in the 1960s, the Vienna Philharmonic saluted Baldur von Schirach, a wartime supporter and a Nazi governor of Vienna, who deported tens of thousands of Jews. Interesting bit of information there indeed. Do you know of any interesting stories of New Year's Eve celebrations? Please let us know. We would love to see. Even though many of us just go along with the celebrations, not really thinking about where exactly this celebration came from, it is truly about gathering with others to give hope to our new year. So here's to you all that your new year will be abundant, vibrant, loving, and peaceful. INLVM wishes all of you a wonderfully, positively abundant year, full of magic and the unraveling of your wildest dreams. This is Stacy Hill in New Light Video Magazine.
Reiki Attunement Classes with Reiki Master Instructor Reverend Stacy Hill. For more information, send an email to revstacyhill@gmail.com and start a journey in Reiki today.
Max, the Crystal Skull.
Mysterious ancient crystal skulls.
In several of our issues, we have discussed the use of crystals for healing. We have touched on the energetic properties of crystals and their uses, but Max is a bit unique. I learned of this crystal a while back and learned of the healing that Max has helped others accomplish. Reportedly to be one of 13, Max has toured most of the U.S., healing, inspiring, and assisting others on their spiritual path. Many have even been healed just with one session with Max. Max has been studied by many scientists, gemologists, and geologists from around the world, but he leaves them all in amazement. One thing that they can't understand is that they feel he should be deteriorating by now, but he's not. You see, Max is a very unique skull. Not only can his energy be felt for 2 blocks, he is made from 5 separate pieces with 2 matrices, and he is the only one in the world made like this. The kicker here is that crystals do not grow like this. Well, not on this planet. The British Museum even investigated Max, but left a no comment result because they couldn't figure out how he was created. Joanne Parks, Max's guardian, received him from a Red Hat Lama monk to help her daughter who had bone cancer. He is said to be between 5,000 and 36,000 years old and was found over 100 years ago in a Guatemalan tomb. Max is said to have come from Guatemala, but his true origins are really unknown. It is said that Mayans used the skulls, but they didn't make them. Max isn't alone. There is one more that has been found that is said to be original, Shana Ra. Shana Ra has a purpose as well. Part of his message is that he is a child of Earth, though not a god. He is a shaman's tool and states the only magic he possesses is that he is a mirror to you. So basically whatever you see in his eyes is what you are in his heart. Max does have a message as well, but we'll get to that in a moment. These 2 skulls have actually spent time together. They have 2 different energies, but they work together. They are brothers, but emit different energy waves. They are said to be almost like a computer chip, as they can store energy. Many believe they came from another planet. Joanne states, there are many people who think he's from another planet and is encoded, an encoded messenger. Some believe he was part of Atlantis as well. I think he's been in cultures that have come and gone that we didn't even know existed. And my favorite, she said that he is a unifying force to bring people together. I am you, and you are me, and we are both one and the same. She goes on to say that he is here to remind us of family and to not let bickering and fighting tear you apart, to come back together. Family unit is important, and to be larger, it is the family of humanity and even the universe. Also, she speaks about the children and their important role. Children are our future, and we must remember that. Many who come into contact with Max have profound visions and psychic experiences and have changed their lives for the better. Joanne states, to me, Max is in the shape of a skull because it is a universal symbol of man. Human skulls are keepers of knowledge, a reflection of man, an extension of one's own self. This is another story that really has no ending. Max is truly fascinating and mysterious, with a deep energy of knowing. It has been shown that crystals do in fact carry energy, and many believe that we could even use them for energy to power our homes. Again, another way this magnificent Earth can heal us. I do believe that for every ailment we have, Earth holds the cure. I stated earlier about a message from Max. Here is his message. Not just any message, but a message of peace. Peace to the world. He says peace begins within, and we must learn to trust one another, to develop a world that will truly be free. It begins with love, he says. Everyone in his presence can feel his energy and is transformed in some way. Whether you believe in Max or not, you can't deny all the assistance he has given to others. I, for one, would really love to meet Max myself and to experience his energy personally. I feel that this is something that everyone needs to research and experience. If you have a personal experience with Max, we would love to hear from you to share your experience. Thank you for watching and listening. This is Stacy Hill with a New Light Video Magazine. Energy, frequency, and vibration resources. When we look back at ancient civilizations, we are intrigued by them. Many are massive and built with such detail, we even have trouble remaking them even with today's technology. So how were they able to conquer such great tasks? Slavery comes up a lot, moving stones on logs or working non-stop. But what if these were all wrong? Earth keeps delivering us all of her long ago secrets, such as old batteries being found and free energy. Could something of the like have been used to help them with their mega structures? I'm going to quote ancientcode.com. In February of 2012, in the Stone Valley Materials Quarry in Riverside, California, a 680,000-pound granite monolith was prepared to travel over 100 miles to become part of an exhibit at the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. A 1.4 million pound crane and a 44-axle tractor-trailer rig with over 2,400 horsepower were needed to move the rock. Building steel girders underneath it was required. 208 tires were placed underneath these steel girders. One power unit was required to pull it and another one to push it. And still, after all that effort, the granite monolith was able to be moved about 5 miles an hour. After reading that, it seems using sticks and ropes would be impossible to move such mega boulders. Many believe that water was used, especially regarding the pyramids of Giza. It is a popular belief that the ancient Egyptians used the causeway to push water through to get the heavy stones to the top. There is also talk of using energy as means to move these stones as well. We now know that the military is using energy weapons, directed energy weapons, DEW. So governments are seeing the value of this energy, but couldn't it be used for other things? One technique that has been researched is sound vibration. We all know that when we are playing on radios in our cars, you can put your hand in front of the speaker and actually feel the music. Could this type of technology have been used to move these big stones? There has been research on this, moving smaller objects, but is it really far-fetched? One thing we have to remember is that everything is energy and it has its own vibration. Dr. Emoto proved that you can put energy into water to change its frequency. So, if you are projecting a certain vibration at an object and you increase the energy to a higher frequency, we have to know that the object would be affected, as with the many experiments on propulsion. As we are aware of this frequency would affect it, but it being enough to move huge stones, I am not sure. During my research, I discovered the idea of beam power propulsion. This is a type of space or aircraft that uses thermal rockets for energy. That is another story in itself. As you can see, there is a lot of information out there supporting the extraordinary ways energy frequency is beneficial. From healing to flying, energy frequency waves are magnificent. This was an intriguing story to write. It was a challenge to write a story with so much detail in such a small space. This field is so interesting to me. As a Reiki master, I am used to working with energy, but just to see all the amazing developments we are making, it is just mind-blowing. I am looking forward to new developments in this field indeed. If you have anything you would like to share on this subject, please let us know. Thank you for watching and listening. This is Stacy Hill with a New Light Video Magazine.
INLVM is proud to share some of Tom Joyce's beautiful work from his new album, Aberg Piano Works. To hear more of this album, go to tomjoycepiano.bandcamp.com/releases and pick up your copy today. Entertainment Central! It's trivia time. Movie trivia. The answer to last issue's trivia question. What director, born in 1967, has worked on over 150 films in at least 18 departments behind the scenes, and directed his first film in 1969? Yep, you read it right. He directed a film that was released when he was 3. Alan Smithee. The Directors Guild does not usually permit a director to remove her or his name from a film. The only exceptions, however, are cases in which the film was taken away from the director and recut against her or his wishes, resulting in a completely altered film. Directors are required to appeal to the Guild in such cases. If successful, their name is replaced by Alan Smithee. Nope, this is from IMDb.com. This issue's trivia question. In what song can you find the lyrics, "There is no dark side of the moon, it's all dark"? Look for the answer in the next issue, baby. And a new trivia question.
Yo, man. I put on my New Light Video Magazine shirt last night before the show. And man, it was crazy. Man, I came home with costumes, some lady sunglasses, and a lei around my shirt, man. All I'm saying is screw the rock star life, man. It's video magazine life for me, baby. Yeah. Yo, man. Coincidentally, you can get these shirts on their website, man. It's freaking awesome.
Supercrystal. In today's world, we have tons of things to keep track of, be it photos of friends and family, our favorite songs, videos, or even work documents. There are numerous ways to store and keep all of our data safe. It is great to have so many backup options, but then you have to keep up with all those storage devices. Or do you? Researchers at Hitachi, the University of Southampton in the UK, and even the Netherlands have discovered, for lack of a better term, a form of super storage using 5-dimensional recording to a type of synthetic crystal many are calling the Superman memory crystal. You may not have heat vision or your own fortress of solitude, but you could, in the near future, be storing all of your data just like the Man of Steel himself. Just how super is this new form of storage? For starters, it has a capability of storing up to 360 terabytes of information per crystal. That's the equivalent of having 361 terabyte computer drives all backed up in one place. To put it in better perspective, you won't have to worry about the life of your data because this technology has the potential to survive anywhere from 100 to 3 million years. With a lifespan like that, you really only have to worry about what you're leaving behind for other planetary inhabitants to find later. This new storage is reported to have a thermal stability of up to 1000 degrees Celsius, which is roughly only 370 degrees less than the temperature steel melts at. That is some serious storage. But how do we read and write to it? The scientists use what is called a femtosecond laser to read and write to the crystal. The laser pulses in femtoseconds, which are equal to 1 quadrillionth or 1 millionth of 1 billionth of a second. The laser uses its high-speed light to write in 5D by etching the surface of the crystal. The data is stored in 3 rows of dots. The laser imprinted dots are separated by a millionth of a meter. and the bits of data exist in one of two forms with up to 256 variable states. The laser reads the etched areas for data retrieval. I'd almost need 2 master's degrees to fathom that, but nonetheless, it makes for some amazing technology. In closing, I would say that with its large storage capacity, incredible strength, and amazingly long lifespan, this form of technology has truly earned the title the Superman Memory Crystal. The real question is, when this supercrystal is made widely available to the public, what will you leave behind? This is Rich with INLVM. Thanks for watching and listening. When information is beyond belief, beyond conspiracy, or beyond the norm, then it's beyond news. Find out more at articlechase.com/beyond news.
Diamonds are forever. Ashes to ashes, and dust of the departed into diamonds. Living forever in this body is not an option, albeit we can now be immortally stunning as a diamond in our afterlife on Earth. The future will be offering us a new way to cherish a loved one, ourselves, or even a beloved pet by turning them into a truly amazing family heirloom, a diamond. I know it sounds a bit crazy at first, though I have to admit I was intrigued about the idea of turning cremated ashes into a diamond, and even more so, how the process could even be done. I found that there are about 3 companies that are offering the service by using the cremation ashes of a deceased. But I am sure that there will be more before we know it. The human body is made up of carbon, and carbon is a main compound in diamonds. When a deceased body is cremated, the ash is high in carbon compound. To create a diamond from the deceased loved one's ashes, these companies put the ashes in high compression machines for 3 months, which emulates the intense pressure of the earth that forms diamonds over several 100 million years. The color of the diamonds can vary. There's no way to tell what color the diamond may be. So far, it seems that they can become a variety of just about any color, from shades of blue, yellow, clear, red, green, and even black. It depends on the amount of boron that is present, and it appears we are all a little different, which means we are all a unique diamond in the rough when you get right down to it. Apparently, this speeds up the process to leave something behind in the now. Approximately 3 months, they say, and only requires a portion of the ashes, and cost about the same or less than most funerals. Just imagine being able to treasure a loved one for many lifetimes being shared with those that have loving memories of the departed and want to preserve, honor, and cherish them in a truly unique way by turning them into a diamond. Would you consider this as an option for yourself or a loved one? I know that as beautiful as cemeteries are, they are getting crowded. Perhaps this is why people are looking for creative new options to offer during the transition of life, and yet gives those left behind a way to honor the departed. If you are interested in this topic and want to know more about this process, you can find out more from one of these websites I found on the companies that are currently offering this service. One is called LifeGem and can be found on the internet at www.lifegem.com. Cremation Solutions is another company, and the URL is www.cremationsolutions.com, and a Swiss company called Algordanza, and their website is algordanza.com. This is Tammy Sabo sharing a glimpse of what the future holds from Death to Diamonds.
History, hauntings, happenings. Find your truth with Sixth Sense World. www.sixthsenseworld.com. Holistic Health. Are you tired after eating? Story by Dr. Taryn P. Lupo, D.C. Do you fall asleep after meals? You might be pre-diabetic or insulin resistant. Diabetes is growing by leaps and bounds in this country, and it is not showing any signs of improving. A perfect storm of redefined carbohydrates, lifestyle, cultural eating shifts, and genetic expression has skyrocketed the number of diabetics. Type 2 diabetes is now even being found in children. A stage exists where a patient will have some symptoms of diabetes, but no pathological findings show up in their blood test. Their body's biochemical pathways and functions are not working correctly, but the doctors tell them they are fine. This in-between stage is called insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is the medical term used to describe prediabetes. When somebody smokes enough cigarettes, they eventually develop a tolerance against it. Their cellular receptors either clog or downregulate, so it takes higher and higher levels of nicotine to get the same fix. Alcoholics develop a resistance to alcohol and need more and more booze to get drunk. The same things happen to your cellular receptors when you eat too many carbohydrates. You actually grow resistance to glucose and insulin. Years of eating a high carbohydrate diet will cause all kinds of problems with your pancreas and insulin production. If this goes on long enough, it will develop into full-blown type 2 diabetes. Warning signs of insulin resistance. Do you get sleepy or pass out after eating a high carbohydrate meal? Do you have stubborn weight that does not come off, even with diet and exercise? Do you have skin tags? Are your moles or folds in your skin growing larger and darker? Do you urinate frequently? Are you thirsty all the time? Do you have cold hands and feet that never seem to warm up? Is your waist girth larger than your hips? Are you a woman who is growing hair where you shouldn't, like your face, nipples, back, and rear end? Are you a man who is growing man breasts or hips? Have you had a swing in your sex drive? Does eating not resolve your hunger? Do you have a strong craving for sweets? If you answered yes to more than 3 of these questions, you might have insulin resistance. This condition can spin out of control if left unchecked. If you would like more information about how to manage this condition with drug-free options, check out this link, www.holistichealinginformation.com/reverseinsulinresistance.html. Dr. Taryn P. Lupo, D.C. This is Rich Lane with INLVM sharing an informative article submitted from Dr. Taryn Lupo about the warning signs of diabetes and insulin resistance. INLVM has only given you a sample of Clandestiny's amazing album Following the Muse. To hear more of this amazing album, go to clandestiny.bandcamp.com to hear more and to pick up your copy today.
Elderberry Tonic. A must-have tonic for the cold and flu season. The ingredients you'll need are 2/3 cup elderberries, 3 1/3 cup of water, 2 tablespoons of dried ginger root, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon powder, a half teaspoon cloves or clove powder, and 1 cup of raw honey. A simple natural remedy with a big immune boost. Keep this on hand during the cold and flu season to ward off illness. Take 1 tablespoon a day when you know your body is vulnerable due to poor eating habits, travel, stress, lack of sleep, etc. If you're already on your way towards a cold or the flu, it is advised to take 1 teaspoon every 1 to 2 hours. The benefits of elderberries: very high in vitamin A, have more vitamin C than oranges, very high in quercetin, an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antiviral to treat colds and flus, helps soothe sore throat and calms the cough. You can find elderberry syrup at vitamin stores, natural health food stores, and sometimes at your local grocery stores or pharmacy. It is already made into a syrup and can be taken as directed, or you can mix ginger, cinnamon powder, clove, and raw honey to it to make an amazing cold and flu kicking tonic. The pre-made syrup you can purchase at the store gives directions on mixing it with water or juice. Elderberry actually has a nice flavor, and mixed with water just makes a nice vitamin-packed drink. The syrup is handy, but can be expensive. Making your own tonic is simple and yields enough to keep plenty on hand and to share. Directions in 6 easy steps. 1. Pour water into medium saucepan add elderberries, ginger, cinnamon, and cloves. 2. Bring to a boil and then cover and reduce to a simmer for about 45 minutes to an hour. Then remove from heat, let cool, and strain into a glass container. 3. Let the liquid cool to lukewarm, and then add 1 cup of the honey and stir well. 4. When honey is well mixed into the elderberry mixture, pour the syrup into a pint-sized 16-ounce mason jar or glass bottle. 5. Store in the refrigerator for 3 to 4 months and take daily for its immune support. 6. For prevention, dose is a half teaspoon to 1 teaspoon for children, a half tablespoon to 1 tablespoon for adults. For treatment, take the normal dose every 2 to 3 hours until symptoms disappear. This is Tammy Sabo with the New Light Video Magazine, wishing everyone a well winter season.
Uplift, create, and share at Anahata Healing Arts in the Starland District of Savannah. www.anahatahealingarts.com.
Astronomy and astrology, astronomy photo of the month, the Horsehead Nebula. The Horsehead Nebula is also known as Barnard 33 and can also be referred with IC 434 because it is part of the emissions clouds from the IC 434 nebula, and it is about 1,500 light-years away. The Horsehead Nebula resides close by the Flame Nebula, and both are in a star-forming region called the Orion Molecular Cloud Complex, just outside of the constellation Orion and almost on top of the bright star Alnitak, the easternmost star in the belt of Orion. If you want to see this nebula with your binoculars or telescope, use the sky map to find the Horsehead Nebula. You will first want to look for the constellation of Orion. This map gives you the basic outline shape of the constellation Orion, and it is probably one of the easiest to find throughout the winter nights in the sky, usually low and vivid. The bright stars make Orion visible even in less than desirable viewing conditions, like the city or neighborhood lights, and can sometimes shine through even light fog. The most recognizable feature of Orion is likely to be the belt. It is formed through the middle of the constellation by the stars Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka. The Horsehead and Flame Nebula are in close proximity to the star Alnitak on the outer edge of the constellation Orion. These nebula will appear on the eastern side of the star Alnitak. Image credit is NASA ESA Hubble Horsehead Nebula sky maps created by INLVM. This is Tammy Sabo wishing everyone happy stargazing from In New Light Video Magazine.
Hey ladies, are you ready for your 20-minute twerk out? Because it starts now.
Advertisements are great, but I'd rather see yours here than this. So send us an email entitled AdSpace to innewlightmag@gmail.com to find out how to get your advertisement in our publication. And well, see less of this.
I think I pulled a groin.
Is someone already mining the moon? The rumors have been that China wants to set up a base on the moon to mine metals, but in truth it seems that helium-3 may be more on their minds. It is the latest and greatest thing in energy production and is worth around $75,000 an ounce. They want to establish mining colonies on the moon to gain access to this helium-3. According to the Huffington Post, China says that the solar winds are blowing on the moon unrestricted, stirring up the moon dust and creating the helium-3 isotopes. Helium-3 is said to be a fuel for nuclear fusion, much more powerful than what is currently used. It is said that one space shuttle-sized cargo ship full of helium-3 would power the United States for a year. Over at UniverseToday.com on January 15th of 2014, Ken Kremer wrote that they can collect the dust, heat it up to 600 degrees, extract the isotopes, and ship it to Earth. It sounds like sci-fi is coming to reality. Next they will build the US CSS Nostromo. Maybe there is a hidden agenda here. It seems there is a good possibility that aliens could already be mining or doing something on the moon. Over at Truth Frequency Radio, it reports that China has high-res images taken by their satellite of mining operations on the moon. However, it has been determined that they are actually NASA photos, and there have been several of great interest. It is unclear why China was given the credit for them, although they could have some of their own. Others say that it looks like a military compound. There is even footage of a large pipe-like structure releasing a smoke or steam caught by a camera the Apollo mission was using to scan the moon's surface. Who is to say? Does this confirm that we are not alone in the universe? What do you think? There is a lot of talk in other circles outside the mainstream media about photos of buildings on the moon taken by many different countries. None of these photos are very clear, not like the photos taken from the same equipment of other objects. These photos were taken from spacecraft that orbited or landed on the moon. Some of these photos were taken by the Chang'e 3, which is one currently in the news media. It touched down and took some samples and photos of the moon. If you have intriguing photos of structures or information of mining on the moon, please share them with us at INNewLightVideoMagazine.com. This is Rick Roncheski with In New Light Video Magazine.
The Astronomy and Astrology Celestial Calendar and Forecast for January through February of 2015. The Astronomy and Astrology Calendar and Forecast is an easy-to-follow presentation. You can see what is happening by the date events are occurring in astronomy and astrology in one section. On Sunday, January 4th, we have the peak of the Quadrantids meteor shower, which is active from December 28th through January 12th. On peak, we can see 120 per hour. Also on Sunday, January 4th, we have the full wolf moon, also called the old moon or the moon after Yule, in the astronomical sign of Gemini, in the astrological sign of Cancer. The full moon in Cancer can influence our emotional need for safety, providing it, having it, and creating it in our personal and professional life. Emotional energy may run deep as we sort through material possessions and relationships to find what is lasting and truly valuable. This influence can really inspire us to sort out and seek long-term planning and even make or form commitments. On Tuesday, January 20th, we have the new moon in the astronomical sign of Capricorn in the astrological sign of Aquarius. The influence of the new moon in Aquarius will be likened to that of the old saying, letting your hair down, as well as the one that says, get your freak on. This new moon is likely to urge self-expression both socially and privately. The overwhelming feeling of just wanting to be and be accepted and then be accepting of others could be intense at times, embracing the deepest, darker sides. On Wednesday, January 21st, Mercury enters retrograde and is in Aquarius. It will return station on February 11th in 2015. Mercury on its path to the underworld. Rule of thumb during this transit is don't travel, don't sign contracts, don't marry, and don't touch electronics. Mercury is the messenger and always relates to communications. We are more likely to be extra sensitive and observant. We are more likely to question everything. Is this what I really want? Making mistakes and misreading others' communications are typical during this time. Take the time to slow down, reevaluate, rethink, and then recharge. On Tuesday, February 3rd, we have the full snow moon, also called the hunger moon, in the astronomical sign of Cancer, in the astrological sign of Leo. A full moon in Leo is about relationships and creating lasting connections. This is likely to have you putting a microscope on your relationships to reevaluate their value. There will be a strong influence to develop stability and consistency in relationships, as well as an increased desire to seek pleasure. During this phase, being more impulsive could drive right into your bank account, and overspending and indulgence is something we will want to watch so that we don't get out of hand. This is not the best time to take risk or gamble, yet it is likely. Therefore, be cautious and aware of your motivations. On Sunday, February 8th, we have the peak of the Alpha Centaurus meteor shower. It is active from November 28th through February 21st. On peak, we can see about 6 per hour. On Wednesday, February 18th, we have the new moon in the astronomical sign of Capricorn and in the astrological sign of Pisces. The new moon in sensitive Pisces. Pisces is a sign of emotion and the deep thinker. When the moon is in this sign, the response to all situations will be from the emotions. This means that we are likely to have deeply moving moments of happiness as well as sadness. We are more likely to express acts of kindness towards others and feel for those that suffer. Being washed in the depths of emotions can create a time of truly amazing creativity and imagination. The only caution to be aware of is truthfulness. Not wanting to hurt anyone's feelings could make you want to take the easier road of not being truthful. That concludes our astronomy and astrology celestial calendar and forecast. Visit our website at www.INLVMagazine.com for more information and some cool merchandise. I'm Tammy Sabo, the INLVM staff astrologer, sharing an outlook on astronomy and astrology.
In New Light Video Magazine, seeing in a new perspective. We're the first of our kind as a video magazine, combining the portability of video with the convenience of a magazine that reads itself to you, making our publication user-friendly for the hearing and visually impaired. We strive to bring you, our viewers and listeners, stories that we hope will inspire you to see things in a new light. To find out more about who we are, what we do, and how you can become a contributor to show your support, please visit our website. And while you're there, check out our social media connections as well, including our new virtual world experience. That website is www.INLVMagazine.com or www.INLVM.com. As always, from the staff here at INLVM, we thank you for watching and listening.